Hello, welcome to Tony's Bonsai. We've got a rock, we've got a tree with some roots. It can only mean one thing, root over rock. I showed you this rock in a previous video. It's got a cracking shape, but what I want to do with this is it just about stands like that. It's kind of teeters, but that can easily be held in a pot. And what I love about this view is the way that this overhangs and there's like an undercut here. And when you look at rocks on the coast, they often have this undercut, and I just like the look of it. From here we get that nice view. We've got a lovely spot to put the tree on, and there's lovely runs here to run roots around this rock. That's basically the plan. This tree is called Japanese holly, or Ilex crenata. It's a tree from the Mediterranean, so you know it likes all the things you would expect from those kinds of trees. Well draining soil, lots of sun. And I bought two of these from a local tree nursery. They were super priced, £2.75 each. I sent one to Xavier in our recent collaboration, and what he did is he put his as a root over rock, and I really liked it. And they say imitation is the best form of flattery, so I'm going to basically copy him and do the same with mine. I'm not particularly concerned with what's happening up at the top of the tree, first of all. I just want to look at the roots and see if I've got anything there that can actually be used as a root over rock. There's certainly plenty of roots. I'm just going to take my time though and explore this sort of nabari at the top. In my experience, a lot of these Japanese hollies, well, the ones that I bought from my local tree nursery, they've got quite a mess of intertwined sort of pot-bound roots. And this side doesn't have as many roots as this side. And that's often to do with the orientation of the pot. That was probably the warmer side of the pot, facing the sun. I timed myself there, and it's taken me about 10 minutes to sort of clear this root ball out. Probably removed about half of the roots there, mainly finer stuff. But I've got some big problem areas at the top that need to be dealt with, so let's deal with these first. I was hoping there'd be a really interesting intertwining of weird roots, but it's just kind of one ugly one really, and there's nothing I can do with it. It's going vertically upwards. I can't manipulate it down, so it's got to go. That's okay. Now let's look at these other ones. I think these are not so bad, and I've got quite a big bulging ugly knuckle of a root there on this side. Considering my plan was root over rock, I don't think it would have been possible to get a worse root base. I mean, this is the ugliest root base I've ever seen. And it's absolutely horrific. You can't do anything with that. I've no idea what to do. Could I somehow plant it in a pot like that? And I don't know. Maybe I'll just air layer it higher up or do something. I'm just not sure. What I'm not doing is putting it on that rock. So, root over rock Mark 2. The Japanese holly has gone outside, repotted. I'll just leave that for a few years and see what happens. And I've got my hawthorn that I was going to put on my last rock. And I think it might work with this one. I think I'll have to cut it back because it's too long. I don't want it to be such a cascade, but I'm thinking that on top of here could look pretty cool. And the flow of the tree could go with like the flow of the rock. It might look good, that. Ideally, I wanted something in a bigger pot. I don't think the roots on this are going to be massive because obviously there's not the space, but I'm hoping there's some nice long roots that are kind of weaving the way around the pot. So let's have a look. Oh, not really. This just isn't working out today. Let's have a look though. I think this is soil and compost that I used to use a couple of years ago, so it's better it coming out of this pot anyway, really. This is an example of a job where you have to get into the right mindset. You have to forget about the ideas of, got to get this done fast, this has got to be done quickly. No. You've just got to enjoy just taking your time. It's a kind of meditation in many ways. I've said it before. Look how long that trunk is. I had no idea it went all the way down there. I think that could be even better for this rock, because it's going to give it a chance to get up and out. One of the best root over rock videos I've ever seen, in fact the best root over rock video I've ever seen, was by Peter Warren, where he used quite a large beech tree really. It was pretty well established, and he put that root over rock, and it was just really nice the way he sort of sculpted the roots around the rock. It was like creating art, really. You're almost like a sculptor, and that's how I see this kind of project. Very, very creative, and that's why I love doing this kind of thing. You know, this could be grown just as a simple cascade tree, and that'd be great. You know, no problem with that at all. But it really takes it up a level if you can turn it into some kind of, you know, landscape by adding a rock there, and it makes more sense to have this semi-cascading style of tree sitting on a rock, because when you think of a tree on an exposed cliff top or something like that, you know, that's when you would expect a tree to be in the sort of windswept or cascading style. This is the kind of place that I would like to have the tree sitting, sort of here, with this tree cascading over the rock, is what I'm thinking. But I'm just wondering if I could use this root here to kind of wrap around like that, and then I'll have to develop the rest of the kind of root over rock over a period of time. It's got such good potential, this rock, and I've got an idea in my head that I want, and this just isn't going to deliver. So no, it's failure number 2 here. Down with the rock, and then I think what I'll end up doing with this, well, is I'm going to remove that whole big curling taproot there and just plant that up into some bonsai soil and let that go for the year. This rock is proving to be a worthy adversary. Next up is a green carpet juniper. I've been growing this for a couple of years, so with a bit of luck I'll be able to do the business with this one. Let's get stuck in. Well, they say third time lucky. This is, I can tell straight away, this is planted in. Oh look, there's a worm there. There's some nice new white tips to the roots, so Looks like it's ready to have a good year of growing. The worms certainly like it in here. That's 2. Yeah, this is a mix of garden soil, compost, and then some kind of, oh man, I think this is this was one of the very first trees I did, and this is a mixture of pumice, lava rock and garden soil. The classic bonsai mix. As I've said before, I just had no idea what I was doing. Well, I've got some roots anyway, so there are roots there, and I think I will be able to get these weaved in and around that rock. So we've got a bit of an ugly twisting root at the top, but I think that can kind of be hidden to a certain extent. In the process of sorting out this horrific root base, another one, I've ended up taking a lot of the roots off. I have sorted it now, so this root base is looking a lot better, but there's just hardly any roots on it, so it's no good for this root over rock. And I mean, I'm not even sure this is going to survive, but I'll put it in a pot and try, and hopefully I can do something with this next year or in a couple of years. Well, so far I've been relatively confident with the trees that I was trying, so I thought, why not have a go with one I'm very unconfident is going to be any good. And that is a yew that's full of pearlwort. So it needs repotting anyway. I may as well take a look, see what it looks like, and who knows, they didn't work, so maybe this one will. Yew are quite a slow growing tree, so they could be ideal for this project. As I say, this is full of that pearlwort. So I want to just rip all that off the top. My initial thoughts are, doesn't look, oh, it's got some quite decent roots on the bottom there. Oh, it has. Maybe this will be the one. I thought they can't all keep failing. Eventually I have to find one with a bit of potential. But the trees I've worked on so far, they all needed repotting anyway. They needed the roots looking at, so it's not like I've lost anything. They're all outside now, watered, and just ready to grow on for a couple of years and start developing a nice, healthy root base. So I'm just being quite gentle with the bottom. Just teasing the soil out. I put a bit of wire on this tree, I remember. So it's got a bit of movement. It's got some quite nice flare at the base as well, which is rather pleasing. I'm going to try and be really gentle with these roots now. And because I want to keep all these long ones there for sort of draping around the rock. I think this is going to be a goer. This is what I was planning on the other trees being like. But obviously, as you've seen, they weren't. Oh, that's looking great. Look at that. Look at all those lovely roots. I won't say perfect for what I want, but Certainly very good. Okay, I've propped the rock up, and the first thing to do is decide what sort of orientation I want of the tree, and it's going to be largely decided, I think, by the roots. There's not much on the back here, it's very bare, and everything kind of comes out in one direction, which is perfect for this root over rock style. Perhaps not in terms of the flow of the tree. Maybe I'd like the tree to go like that with the rock, but to do that I would have to somehow position the roots so that they're almost going uphill. It's possible, because I've split the roots into sort of two sections like that. And then what I could do is I could put the tree like that and then pull the roots down. So the roots are almost going up and then down. And you know, I quite like that. These roots are going to fit really well through this little gap there. Oh, that's nice. As these roots come down just nicely through that channel, I do have a root that could come off there. That means I could kind of fit those roots in there and they could spread. Yeah, it's like a real sort of puzzle, this. I love it. Now I want to get all of those roots back there, and this should kind of grip the tree on, and it does. It grips it nicely onto the rock. Oh, that's interesting. Look at that little hole there. Oh, can I get some roots down through that? That'll be fantastic. So this hole in the rock there goes right through and comes out underneath. So what I'm thinking is, if I can just gently feed these roots down through that hole, like that, that would be great. I think I'm going to have to tie them together, feed them through as one. So if I can grab these roots there like that, and then tie all the ends like that with a little bit of vet tape, like that. Hopefully I can then push that through that hole, like that. There we go, and it comes out the other end. And this root now goes down through there. Excellent, that worked out well. There. So I've managed to pull them through. Just that vet tape's got wedged in the hole, but that should just go down, I think. Yeah. There. So it's quite a fiddly job, that, but I think it's worth it to get these roots down like that, and I want to get that little root there down as well if I can. There. Every little bit like that helps. Before I put any moss on, what I'm now doing is just separating these roots out and just kind of spreading them around into hopefully good positions. See, they can come all the way round here like that. That looks great. I went round to my parents the other day and just scraped some moss off their lawn. They've got one area that particularly gathers a lot of moss, and I just raked it up. So there is a bit of grass in it, which isn't ideal, but the good thing about it is it's basically still alive because it's fresh. And so this should almost form a really good, I wouldn't call it a protective shell, but I'm going to pour a bit of soil on the top. Where the root is right at the top, at the base of the tree, there's almost like a little hollow. So I'll chuck some actual soil in there that the moss can go on top of, and then I'll wrap the moss all around it like that. I really enjoy this process. This is cool wet moss. That's what they say when they're walking across fire, isn't it? So I'll just bunch it on like that. And my idea with this technique is that all this moss now obviously keeps the roots nice and moist and healthy, but it also, because I've used quite a lot of the stuff, it really pushes those roots in. Like that. I don't really know if it'll work. It's just a bit of an experiment, I suppose. Get lots up around this area here. Like that. Because I've been doing so many projects recently, I'm running out of vet tape, and I need to keep it in case I need to do any branch bending. So for this experiment, I'm going to try some of this, I don't know what you call it, it's like plastic, cheapo plastic string I call it. Some people might call it what would you call it? Oh, man-made raffia. Doesn't really matter what you call it. It still is what it is. That was very philosophical, wasn't it? Right, so I don't want to just pull the tree in first. That's pulling the tree a bit much, so I'll start a bit lower down and try to sort of just grab the bulk of the moss in like that. I don't need to tie this first one too tightly. It's attached at the back, and I think what I can do is just slowly start to wind this around. Not too tight, just gently building the tension up as I go. So I can use as much of this string as I want, because obviously it don't hardly cost anything. It's more or less free compared to other bonsai materials. So as I get there now, that's kind of all had a decent-ish pull. Obviously this string will all have to come off. This is not biodegradable. If you used some kind of twine, you know, like just a natural hemp string or jute or something like that, obviously it would just rot away over time. I've not got any of that stuff, and I think I like the idea that this is going to be in place for quite a while, so I don't need to worry whether the string's rotted and it started coming apart. This is not going anywhere. I think I need to get something over the top as well. So if I bring it round, get it under the rock, and then pull it across like that, that'll fix that in that position. I can then come round and over. It's quite an enjoyable job, this. There we go. Finally got there in the end. Only took 4 trees for me to finally work it out, but you can imagine this overhang here, the trees coming in that with the flow of it. We've got those amazing roots all around. Nice. This can now be taken off the turntable and just put into a washing up bowl that's got some bonsai soil in it, and then I'm going to add a layer of soil around the edge to keep all that moss moist. Get some nice soil and just pour it all around these edges. This should sort of compress that moss down. And force those roots in against the rock with a bit of luck anyway. Just looks like a big Christmas pudding. You know, bonsai isn't about instant impact all the time. A lot of the time, especially if you're in the early stages of building up a collection of trees, as I am, we're doing stuff, you know, we're taking action to set trees up to be good in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. You know, and that's the way it is. Well, that felt like a bit of a war of attrition, but in the end, I'm really happy with how it went. I'll be updating you on this in the summer when hopefully this starts sprouting new growth and growing really healthily. That's the plan anyway. As always, thanks for joining me. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.